Thank you for going back.
Yeah. All tied up.
All right,
Okay.
we are going to commence our Town of Sangerville Board of Selectmen special meeting beginning 5:02, Monday, October 9, 2017. Board members are all present along with the town manager. You want to skip Pledge of Allegiance or just the four of us?
Okay.
I think we're good.
Yeah.
Okay. Old business. And really the primary reason for the special meeting is the road portion of this. We also have a personnel policy review. That was gonna be a workshop.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Lois, you can bring us up to speed on this paving issue.
Okay, so we were going to do shimming on Silver's Mills Road. When I was talking with Steve, who was doing the culverts, he said that he had heard that we were doing the ditching next spring. And he said you can't do ditching after you do the shim, because what happens is, like in the center line, it's thin, and then on the edges it's thin. And in the middle, where you've got your truck ruts, it's thicker.
Right.
And so the tracks on the excavator will break that up when it's too thin, and you'll lose that. Now I called Pike, because I was not understanding what he was telling me. I thought he was just talking about leaving track marks. So I called Pike and I asked him, I said, so why do we not want to do it that way? And he said, because it's going to break it off. And I said, oh, so we'd have to shim again before we could overlay. He said, yes. So, and I also called Phil Curtis. And he said that even if we shimmed and got a rubber tired excavator, he said the pressure of the rubber tires as you move it can do the same thing as the track marks, and you can break up the shim as well. So basically we don't want to shim and then ditch. We want to ditch and then shim. And Phil said, these are your rules for ditching. When it's a paved road, you ditch, then pave. When it's a gravel road, you build your gravel, then ditch. So.
There's really no rush to get it shimmed.
Right.
I mean, ultimately it's a shim and pave, that's
Right.
the process.
So, and the only reason we were doing that was because
the-
of Pike.
No, because we couldn't do
Right.
the other end.
The
We can't.
880. The
Yeah.
880.
Right,
And
we
so
couldn't do
were-
the, right.
Right.
So we
were-
said, well, let's get something done.
Right.
So,
But it wasn't based on Pike saying you
Mike
have
said, as
to-
long as you do the French's Mills Road,
He's
Okay,
happy.
He's happy.
no penalties, no anything.
okay.
And we're ready for them over there, right?
Yeah, we've been ready for them
Yeah.
over there.
When are they
He's
gonna do that?
pushing us off because of the rain. He can't
Okay.
pave in the rain. So
My
it'll be a couple
personal
more days.
opinion is I don't want to spend money to shim and take a chance at
Yeah.
making it
No.
bad and have to redo it next year.
Right.
I would rather see you not shim this year, and whatever that bucket of money is, you could use that for ditching, you could use it for culverts.
We have all
We got
kinds of
gravel
work to
roads
do.
that could use
Yep.
some gravel.
We could just get more ready for next year.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Which
Yeah.
was really part of the reason we're in this position, is because we had so little ready for this year.
And
Right.
honestly, we
Right.
talked about grading again, and we don't have any money for that, so, I mean.
Can
I
we
know-
move money from what was
Sure.
paving over and do some grading?
It's all in public works.
Not a problem.
We don't have a line item budget.
Okay.
Correct.
So
Just as long as you don't go over your bottom total dollar,
Bottom
you're
total.
fine.
So we got roughly $35,000 that you could do some other things with before the snow flies.
Yes.
So I mean, my one thought, yes, I wanna do as much as we can to be ready for next year, but at the same breath, we know we have a couple of gravel roads that could have a little bit of work done.
Which ones?
I know down,
Well, there was a piece of the Knowlton Mills that we inexplicably skipped. It needed material, and we literally lifted the blade up and drove by the cemetery, then put it back down.
because it
So-
doesn't have enough gravel.
So, it seems a shame to
That
have
road is-
done that road and then skip that piece,
Pretty
Right.
rough.
right in
Is
front of the
it-
cemetery.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure if you get a hold of the road committee and ask them, with that.
They probably have a
thought
number of,
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean, I know Grange Roads needs gravel, McNaughton Hill, I think there's a few spots in there that could use some.
but I definitely would get as much Silver's Mills prepped
Oh, yes.
as we can.
If we could,
If we can do the ditching that we're talking about, do it.
Can we do the ditching? I mean.
Yeah, we need to do it before we pay.
Right, no, but,
Yeah.
so
Well,
we
if
could
we
do
have
that.
30 to 35,000, if you go, say, $2 a foot,
Right,
and you have 5,280 feet times 2, because
Right.
it's 2 miles,
right, one way.
Burn off $20,000 pretty easy.
Yeah.
Oh, easy.
Oh, yeah.
for doing the whole 2 miles though.
But the other thing too, and I know we talked a little on Friday, and I did talk to Irvin this morning and asked him to please get with Butchie and the guys about those, when you go past Kazmazak's,
Yeah.
the 2 culverts, cause I went afterwards over the weekend, driving it, trying to remember where was the bad one. What it is once you go past where we just put in the culverts.
Yeah,
There's 2 culverts that the road committee marked as okay, which the culverts themselves are okay. And then Lois had a resident question her about one of them, because even though the culvert's okay, that frost heaves really, really bad and creates one of the worst bumps on the whole road. So instead of, yeah, it doesn't need to be replaced, but while the equipment's there and we're gonna pave next year, maybe we ought to get that out and see if we can't get it
Set it
reset
there, right.
and get rid of that. But the one culvert that's by Jerry Kazmazak's and then the guy who came across the street, it's a diagonal. That's always been the thought process that we don't even need it. It's like in the top of the hill. So
Yeah.
to get that one out before we pave, and then that next one down is the one that does,
The flat spot.
it's bad. That's the next culvert after that, that one there I hit 2 years ago with my old pickup and blew it, forgot all about it. It blew the turn signal right out of my truck, no
Whoa.
idea where. I showed up to get hay, I pulled in, they said, what happened to your truck? No idea, so, yeah, it's bad in the spring.
So he's over there, I mean, that would make sense if we can get it prepped. I was talking to Lois before you got here about the culverts that Steve had put in that really looked top notch.
Great.
I
I've
mean,
got
Really?
pictures.
Oh, fantastic.
like probably the finest culvert in the history of Sangerville. Crazy.
I would dare say it's the best looking culvert
The
Fantastic.
rock work, everything.
in the county.
And you get what you pay for.
Well, it looks in that instance we did.
Right,
Um,
right.
So it's encouraging.
Good.
I gotta believe they'll
That's
last
good
for a very
news.
long time, but we'll see.
That's really good news.
So going forward with this, I mean, we're gonna do these couple at a time, Steve, see how they go.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I was really happy with the ones he did last week. I was there both Thursday and Friday. Thursday had to go to Augusta, so I didn't get to see the finished part of it. I see him do the bottom and cover it, but not the vibratory roller part at the top. And then on Friday, watched the whole thing, and that's pretty cool. That machine comes over in the vibratory roller. It's like they can just like flip a switch and.
Wow.
and then
so
they-
you actually got to see what's in our roads.
That's
Yes, I
good.
did.
And
So,
all
we have
the
very
steps.
nice-
Oh, I have pictures.
Nice
That's
deep
great.
gravel, and he was very impressed.
Well, yeah, I
Good
mean,
stuff.
the 2 culverts that Butch took me to, and that he was concerned with, that there was ledge there.
Ah.
I got pictures, and there, I mean, it's 4 feet deep, 3, 4
Wow.
feet deep.
Wow.
There's no ledge there.
No ledge.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's got these culverts down deeper than I, and honestly, Friday, I can't remember if it was later Friday night or when it was, and I talked to Lois, because the first one was done, and I went down and looked at that, and I didn't measure it, and I didn't feel I needed to, standing there looking at the culvert, there was more gravel above the culvert than the diameter. Not a lot, but it was there. And, but I know the old rule of thumb that we've all heard is you have to have that amount of dirt above that your culvert is. So when I went down and looked at the next 2, and I'm seeing where we started to clean up and where the culvert is, and it's like, I don't see how he's gonna have that layer of dirt. So, maybe that might have to be a metal by what we're told. And then she said, oh no, Steve, they're going deeper. And I went down, the way he's got that trenched, they are down deep enough, but it's that deep in that spot. He didn't carry the whole ditch
Uh-huh.
like
That's-
what we would normally have.
We've got to
Yeah.
have the ditching done to match.
No,
Right,
I'm just saying that,
right.
but what he did do is, that he made the ditch so it's better,
Right.
but to get down to that depth of culvert, it's in that one spot.
Right.
We didn't have to
Right,
ditch
right,
that
right.
whole
Yep,
section,
yep.
which I really like, I mean,
And the stonework is really impressive. He creates a well, really. So no matter how, it's hard to imagine any volume of water that could possibly move that rock.
Wow.
They're big, heavy, you're not gonna have that silt backing up into
Yeah,
these things.
yeah.
No, that's the other side, it is big enough that if you do get some of your ditch silt that's coming in, he's got that rock out far
So
enough.
far.
You're talking years before
Yep.
you're gonna
Fantastic.
put
Yep.
enough dirt in these rocks to get to the culvert.
Well,
The
good.
second
They
one
are
I did on
impressive.
Friday, I'll have to get the pictures printed, but there were rocks coming out like
Whoa,
this big, huge. I mean, this,
whoa.
Those are the ones that come
whole-
up through your pavement in
Yeah,
the spring.
well, they were
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
under the old culvert.
Yeah.
And then you could see where they had mixed the old pavement with the gravel
Yeah.
underneath,
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
reclaimed it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where they had reclaimed it, there was that layer of black that was over those rocks, and then when he got all said and done on the bottom, he hit the corduroy road. So I mean, we went through all the layers. It was just,
That's cool.
Wow.
I tell you, it was
Like
cool.
a history lesson.
Yes.
How long did it take him to do that?
He did 2 culverts. Those 2 culverts he did in one day, and I think he probably got there around 6:37. And I left Friday about 2, and he was almost done the second one.
Wow. And with how many workers?
He had 3 plus Rick.
Wow. Oh,
Did Rick do
okay.
the seating?
Was it seeded?
Yeah, it looked like
Did-
somebody
Yeah,
seated it.
they had hay out on it.
Then
Yep.
yeah,
It all looked really good, very
Yeah.
professional.
yeah.
Yep.
That's the best looking thing I think I've seen us done.
And he was totally comfortable with you watching. I mean, not at all.
Oh yeah, no, and he
Yeah.
was fine, and
That's
Butch
great.
was there on Thursday and chewed
Good.
his ear off, and he took that all in stride and answered
Good.
all of his questions, and
Was he
actually
respectful?
it was Butch talking to him that triggered the conversation about the ditching.
Aha. Ah. Oh, that's good.
Oh, okay. Well,
Very
that's
good.
So
good.
he didn't realize we weren't ditching until after shim.
Oh.
So then he
Well, he
continued
kinda-
and
they
he
kinda-
said, "You can't do that."
Saved us on that then.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Well, so he was the one that brought that to your attention.
Mhm.
Wow. Well,
What was,
good.
what was actually was funny was, I drove by that and then, I had to go get something in Dexter yesterday, so I'm down my road, come across your road, and I'm just looking at the other culverts and the rip wrap that we did on some of the other ones that, you know, that said, oh, we rip wrapped. No,
Not.
when you drive by what we
All
just
rip
did,
wrap isn't the same.
No, you could
Not
drive a pickup
creating
truck in there, it's
equally-
not gonna damage this.
when you drive by what we just did, and you get to the culverts that we thought were
Were-
nice, were
yeah.
rip wrap,
Yeah.
then blame me.
By comparison.
It's night and day.
Well, and
difference.
that's the difference in the cost.
That's why it costs a little bit more.
That's right.
There's no doubt about it.
And
Yeah.
I clearly
So-
think that's where that money, if we're spending excessive amount of money anywhere, I think that's where you need to spend it. That's the
Yeah,
key.
that and pay, you know, the difference between 1 inch and 1.5 inch, you know.
That's the other part,
Those are
yes.
places where you're better off to do a little less linear feet.
Yep, yep, and better quality.
It's another thing, we don't have to decide this tonight, but we are getting to a point where it's time to figure out what is the next, we're working on the Solis Mills Road, and next year, we should be pretty much paved up to where your end was.
What I would really like to do is while Pike is there, he already kinda knows what they're gonna do from there up, but see if Pike can actually,
Well, I will tell you that when I was riding with Pike, his suggestion is reclaim, which
no, I'm not gonna.
that's too expensive, and he knows it's expensive. And he said,
My problem with it, and if he could come in and explain his theory, maybe change my mind, but from what you saw the other day, when we reclaim, all we're doing is turning hot top into garbage.
That's why, Chris Newt was at my field, and he was there when they were, and he said, you've got places where there's 6 or 8 inches of reclaimed pavement, and underneath it is just silt and mud, and there's no gravel
nothing.
there.
Yeah,
So I mean, my thought
No
process.
foundation.
Yeah, so
If
shim and
we-
pave is just basically, at least you're adding to the layer cake.
yeah,
Right,
yeah, yeah.
And that's what I'm
yeah.
thinking, to me make sense is, if we had shim and pave to where we're at,
Well, that was Phil's argument, was,
then when you get 9 to 12 inches, then you reclaim, and at least you have something.
yeah. Yeah.
But we're not
But you
there.
don't ever wanna dig down into that silt and mud.
No.
You're just
No,
going
no, no,
backwards.
no, no.
Correct, that's
Cause
what,
we're not gonna fix the road.
that's right, so we need to keep building on top of.
Yep.
Yep.
Until we can get something that we could,
Yep.
One day reclaim.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I know, like down by Irvin's house, where we shim and pave that, that's got 7 to 9 inches of shim. but it's this wide.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not in the
It's
middle, it's
only-
not in the
yeah.
edge. So if you
Front yard.
reclaim that,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
would look good,
but the other would be down to raw.
yeah.
But Chris said that at least the piece, the middle of the road had probably old field rock, just all kinds of rock. The sides had no rock. So, you know, these logging trucks are just pushing that, and you keep filling it with shim, and they keep
Yeah,
pushing it down.
Pushing it down.
And there's nothing we can do about it.
No, and that's what scares, we haven't particularly done it yet, but if you go to some of these other towns, they've taken a lot of their roads and they're not leaving much of a shoulder. And then they're creating these really big deep ditches that are fairly steep. And if you look at them roads, towns that have done that, say 10 or 15 years ago, their roads are now really starting to crown. Cause they don't have anything in there.
Right.
No
And
hips.
when you take everything away from the edges to hold it,
Oh, yeah, sure.
they're just pushing right
Yeah,
out.
right out.
So I think that's something when it comes to ditching, we gotta make sure that we don't do too. But so far, we're okay.
But that, yeah, we gotta, back to which road is next year and the year after. The road going up to your place is a disaster.
Yeah.
McFeeters and I think East Sangerville, at least for paving on East Sangerville, that has some big deep ruts, or at least some shim to fill it
Yeah,
in.
that's bad too, East Centerville is really bad.
And the little piece of golf road down there, have we done anything there in
No.
100 years? No.
Put it
It's,
on the
it's,
list
you know, it's
of
funny, I
everything.
noticed Dover Foxcroft, you know the Oliver Hill Road, do you ever go up that way?
Yeah.
That piece that Dover owned before you get to Garland was a disaster, they finally fixed it.
Did they
Yeah.
Oh,
really?
it's
They
beautiful
did.
now.
Right to the middle of the line road where
It's
where
beautiful.
the line is.
Totally changes your experience over there.
Well, we have this whole conversation because my kids both, when they're at the house, they work back and forth to Bangor, it's like, don't go over hill, cause it's too rough.
It's good
It's
now.
beautiful now.
That pays
And the line road
maintenance.
is all, most of it's been paved now.
They pay their gas, so they don't wanna go around the roughness, they don't care about me.
So anyway, well, the road
But I
committee
think
could
you're-
help us with that.
Yeah,
That and Pikes, I mean, how much, if we say shim and pave to get the last section of Silver's Mills done, what kind of money is that, and can we go from there to go to McFeeters and, or the golf road, that's a small section, or, I don't wanna get back into the old habit of, we're gonna do Silver's
little
Mills,
pieces.
50 feet,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
go
I
here
don't like
50
that
feet.
idea. I mean, unless you
No,
got a
but I don't-
dire
Yeah.
situation. but-
Yeah, I don't know how much, I mean, you think that we were gonna do 3,300 feet on the Silver's Mills, and that was going to be almost 80,000.
Yeah. So now
So,
we're gonna try to do double that.
If you're gonna
next year.
do 2 miles, well, if you added
But
the
you gotta-
Silver's Mills and the French's Mills, our total bid from Pike was around 115,000. So if you're doing 2 miles, you're talking 230,000 to do those
But
2 miles on
The
Silver's
big thing
Mills.
you gotta remember is the shim, and that's where, cause that's a guessing number. So
Yes.
that's what I'm saying, is Pike would be really good at saying, if you shim and pave, this is about what I'm thinking. Cause if you told him we're gonna, I mean, really, we spent about 100,000, that's what we're talking about. So if we say shim and pave, Silver's Mills, where does $100,000 take us to?
Is that 2 miles from Hartford Lane to where the,
Never technically measured it, I think you're close.
I think it's close. That's what the road committee has said, it's roughly 2
Well, I'm
miles,
sure.
2.1, 2.2, something like that.
But if you explain it that way, we're gonna start there, get this finished, with a thought process, the next year, we're gonna go finish wherever you're not going, and then we're gonna go to another road. And then, cause this is the other thing is, I know for the last year I asked the same question, do the paving companies add for equipment removal? And everybody said no.
Yeah, they do.
And of course they do, I mean, they have to. So, but I mean, when you put that bid out, does your price per ton actually drop off if you can keep him
Stay
in
in
one
one
road?
place, right, and go.
Cause he's not gonna have to pick
Continuously.
up and move again.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, you're not seeing it
good-
as a dollar.
Yeah,
amount,
yeah, that's a
But
good
he's gotta
question.
be
right.
figuring
Yep,
whatever
Picking up
percent
and
of a
moving.
ton has gotta be for moving equipment.
Right.
So that would help us is the only thing.
I doubt we're gonna get a solid quote on paving for next year. 'Cause
Yeah, I
with
don't
the price
think
of
so.
oil, they're not gonna get out on a limb.
No, but they could give you an idea.
No, but
Oh, he
yeah,
definitely give you ideas.
He can tell you how many tons.
I mean, he gave us an idea, like you said, all you do is multiply what he bid.
right.
But, you were not here and Lois had a conversation with Herrick. He'd sent an email, he wasn't pleased that Lawson was doing some work here. He took that as though,
oh, that.
I'll let her
was-
explain to you, but you weren't aware of it, so I just thought you should be aware.
Yeah, he texted me this morning and he was upset that we had gotten a different contractor to come in and do culverts, and why didn't we ask him, because he was cheaper, and he said he's never gonna come back to Sangerville and he's not gonna finish the job. And I ended up talking to him this afternoon, and he's, as far as the job goes, I don't know if he's gonna come back. He says that's not what was written in the contract, so he feels that anything that additional he does out there is not part of the contract and he would bill. That was I didn't get to that part, but.
All right.
But anyway, I talked to him and explained to him we're just comparison right now, and yes, he's a little more expensive. We'd like to see what his work looks like. We would like to have more than one contractor working in town. That his bid, just because he won the bid, didn't mean he was going to get all of the work in
Right,
town. And so by the end of the conversation, he was okay. Apologized for raising his voice to me, and so I'm getting that
Yeah, but,
conflict down.
yeah, good. But, yeah, conflict resolution.
Practice.
Yeah.
That's right,
Yeah.
it's working, and I didn't even have a butterfly through the conversation. So it's
Great,
good.
that's,
Makes a difference on how the conflict is started, on which side and what mood you're in.
Yeah.
To finish it, that helps.
Also, being on the right side of the argument helps.
Yeah.
but is he willing to make better what didn't?
That part I was just saying, I
Oh.
did not confirm with them.
Okay,
By the time we got to the end of conversation,
okay.
we were over that discussion, so
But
I
he did
will.
admit to you as far as compaction and the culverts.
He said, that's right. I said, did you compact in the culverts? And he said, yes, I did. Well, he said, not until after he had the culvert covered with dirt, and then he compacted.
So it didn't compact.
So he didn't
under-
compact every 6 inches.
They're gonna move. I mean, they may be fine in terms of integrity of the culvert, but those holes are gonna,
It's a good thing you're not paving this year.
yes,
Yes.
very good.
Yeah, and then we talked about the contract, the bid sheet that said compact every 6 inches, and yes, it was my mistake that I didn't put it in the contract, but you bid it.
Right.
And when we were out on the road and had that meeting on the road, that you said you were going to do that you
Yeah.
could do that, and you didn't do it. And he says, well, I don't know who's telling you that loaded trucks won't compact only
Oh,
2
I
inches, and so he still wants to argue that point with me, and I said, look, we're not paving it anyways this year, but don't worry, we got it. But
But at the
just,
same breath though, that night back out there, just so she
Yeah, I wasn't there, yeah.
She had the description
Yeah,
of the culvert,
yeah.
how it needed to be done. Point blank question,
Are
can
you
you do
done?
this? Can you do these this way?
Yeah,
Yes, I can.
and you all were there.
We were all there.
Right.
It was,
And I spoke to him on the phone after the brouhaha around compaction.
Yeah.
And we had agreed that we weren't, well, in fact, we were getting ready to have a meeting to decide that we weren't gonna pave it.
Right,
But the other issue came up of the unbroken pavement at each end as it tapers.
Mm-hmm.
And that Pike had said to us, you can't pave this, it will shear.
Right.
And when I mentioned that to him, he admitted that, he said, no, that you can't pave that. I said, well, you knew we were gonna pave it. I said, I kicked back 3 or 4 feet with the toe of my boot. I said, there's at least a half a yard of gravel on each end. He said, oh, there's a lot more than that. So that tells me that it was many feet that he hadn't broken.
Yeah.
But then he said that he would go fix it.
right.
Now it sounds like, based on
He's
his
not.
text, he doesn't wanna fix it. So somebody has to go in there with an excavator, break that pavement up properly, and then taper it and compact it properly before we pave next year. I don't think we're in a rush to do it now. I mean, if he won't finish the job,
my own opinion is we had to take the bill. I don't know, has he submitted how many feet yet? I mean, do they match what we're saying as far as ditching and all that stuff?
he has not submitted an invoice, and that was another part of the conversation that, he wants to get paid from what the contract said. So the contract
mean?
said, you know, the 800-foot section, $22,400. For each culvert, additional culvert that he did, $1,400. For each driveway culvert, $500. How many feet he did for ditching, that's what I have to pay, and how many feet he
Is
did.
he gonna provide you with what he
Nope.
ditched?
Yes, he did.
He gave you, okay,
He
so
gave me numbers on that. It
does
was
that match what our road committee said he did?
yes and no. If you don't lift your wheel when you go by the driveway culverts, it pretty much matches what the number he gave me. But if
So
you take out the driveway culverts, which there's a
So he didn't
There's a
ditch.
conversation that one of the road committee members say, no, that's a driveway culvert and you're paying him for that separate. And then you have a different road committee member that's saying, no, cause he's ditching under the culvert, so you have to count that. So-
That night, when we were all out there and we talked about ditching, and I specifically asked this question, that when we ditch, do you calculate and take out the driveway culverts, because you're paying us for driveway culverts? Yes, we do, we take that number
Well,
out.
you'd have to, otherwise you couldn't
I
shut the
understand,
culvert.
But that was clear.
Your culvert's in, you can't drive over it.
That's right.
You didn't pay me to ditch.
But that was
Oh my
asked that
gosh.
night, so that,
Well, the other thing is, the contract was to get that raised piece of road prepared for paving,
Right.
which it
Right.
is not.
That's right.
By his own
Right.
admission, it's not. He said you cannot pave that.
Well, and then,
Right, so,
but the culverts aren't compacted, you can't pay there either.
right,
So there's a series, now there was one, the Papa log thing.
Yeah.
He admitted that that was not sufficient, and said, just don't even bother paying me for that.
Right.
So that's okay, but we still need to get it done.
right.
And
That's gotta be
if we
redone.
wanted to be a stinker about that, we could say, actually,
You do
that's the spec, you have to do it right.
Right,
And we may,
Yeah.
I mean, in other words, you don't always just get to say, don't charge me.
exactly, and walk away.
Right,
That's right, I mean, you hold them,
Well, to
to
me,
hold
there's
them
a
to the
point here.
contract.
you took the bid.
That's right,
He took this bid knowing we're gonna pave. Now,
Right.
we still have the issue, somebody's gotta fix that broken pavement. Whether we pave it this year or next year, that needs to be done this year.
Correct.
right.
So, whether or not, we need to be able to find out, is he gonna do it? And if he's not, then we need to find out a cost from somebody else to do it.
I agree.
My initial thought is, that cost needs to come off what
His.
we're paying him.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah,
Now,
And that's really a courtesy. Because we
That's
don't have to
right.
do any of that. All we have to do is say, job's not done.
that's right.
well, and at the end
You
of
broke the
this,
contract.
are we just gonna pay this? I mean, we're paying a lot of money so we can pave this year. Are we gonna get anything because it wasn't done right and we can't pave? We're gonna drive on dirt until next year? Cause at the end of the day.
well,
that
that's
was-
where I take the hit, it was my fault that I wasn't out there, making sure it was
Well,
done correctly.
that's true as far as compaction goes. That has nothing to do with this unbroken
Breaking up
pavement.
that's right, breaking up.
At the
If
end,
he
I mean,
compacted it perfectly, we still couldn't pave.
That's right.
Well, I told him I was
you
gonna
can
go
take
out
the
with my
hit,
wheel and,
but it's, at the end of the day, he knew.
I know,
And
I know.
contractor, whether you was there or not, as a business person, as a contractor,
Right,
and us as a town, we asked for a service to be provided, the service was not provided.
No, and my conversation with Phil, when I explained to him how it was compacted, I said, Phil, what is the likelihood that it will fail due to lack of compaction? He said, 100%.
Yeah.
When I shared that with Mr. Herrick, he said, in his own words, his own way, that just was completely wrong, it will not fail. So then we went to this broken pavement issue, and he admitted, you can't pave it. I said, well, I need you to fix that, and he said, okay, I will fix it. And he was going to do it, because at that point, we were toying with possibly
Okay.
taking a chance of
Sure.
paving.
Paving,
And he was
right.
gonna do it
Get
like
it
the
done.
Monday,
Sure.
and.
That's right, I
and then
remember
we-
that. We
And
talked
then
about
we had our meeting, decided not to gamble, and so I
He
told him he
sort of
had
got
some
a-
time to
he
finish
got a
it.
pass,
You're right,
yeah.
but now he's saying he doesn't wanna even fix it.
Well, but he continues to say, oh, well, he said he doesn't wanna do any more work, but I was gonna say, you know, he's non-compliant, he's broken his contract, and then he's complaining that we found somebody else,
All of that is true, it appears.
so, you know, that's ridiculous.
I wouldn't cut any check of any kind until we know what direction he's going in.
Yeah, in fact,
Decide.
maybe,
He's gotta decide what
maybe
he's
he
gonna
should have a
do.
meeting with us.
Yeah, and agree what,
Go with the road commissioner. She knows what we're
Yeah,
gonna do.
that's true,
We
I
can-
really,
you can do it
actually,
or we can.
yeah, actually, we don't need to do it. That's a
No.
really good point. Because.
what is he gonna do?
No,
What is
that's-
he
no,
gonna
no,
do
no, right.
to finish, and
Yeah,
so
that's my
that
note right
we
here.
are gonna, and what are we gonna end up paying him?
Right.
And what are we not gonna pay
And you
him?
can address, you can
All
let
of
him
that.
know our concerns, that,
Yeah.
even if, that needs to be done, if you don't wanna do it, then we're gonna have to hire somebody else, and we gotta take it off the bill.
Or
Well,
not.
he
We're not required
says,
to.
he
Well, we need
says,
to do it, but we don't have to
In
pay it
order-
because it's not completed.
Correct.
Right,
he maintains though that breaking up that pavement, it was not part of the contract. That 10 to 12 feet on each end, he says that was not part of the contract. And that was the discussion that I had with taking out my little wheel and measuring
Correct.
800 feet, that I would have to dig down and see underneath how far is that pavement broken up. And if it's not broken up 800 feet, then he did not do the contract.
That's right.
Because at this point, you're not hurting anything, go up there with town loader and drop that bucket, start
No.
pushing dirt.
No, you could do that and fine, but he's already admitted to me that there's many yards of gravel.
So that's what I'm saying.
He's
He puts
already
dirt up
told me
on
that,
both
he
sides.
knows, he did it,
Right, and he said he was gonna fix it,
right,
so,
cause he said it had to be fixed, you
Yeah.
can't pave it.
right, so,
If he's not gonna fix it, we need it in writing, he needs to not fix it, if that's what he's gonna do, and he needs to submit his bill. And then we need to decide what we're gonna do from there. At the end.
But assume, let's, for a minute, let's just assume he's not gonna fix it. I
Right.
don't think we need to address it until next spring. I mean, we could, if we've got somebody over there working, we could have him fix it.
right,
If Steve's over there, we could say, Steve, will you fix this? And
Right.
obviously he's gonna bill us.
I would
Then we
prefer-
would know what we're paying.
yeah,
Yeah, cause you're not gonna wanna not pay this till next spring, cause you're on a different budget.
Yep.
right,
Yep, and it does, there is an argument that be said to have that ready for, you know, we completed the
Yes.
That's
project.
more
Yes, yes.
my issue
yeah,
personally.
yeah,
Yep.
finishing.
I want that done, ready, so next year we pay, this is not gonna be part of next year's conversation.
So, as the commissioner, do you give him one more chance to finish his job or not?
I will call him, text him something
call.
and
See
find
what else to
out.
do.
So
Yeah.
what has to happen, all that dirt, or the gravel needs to be pulled back, and it needs to be broken up with an excavator, is that how it's broken up?
Correct,
Yeah,
correct.
and it
Chopped up.
needs to fit the old pavement that's not broken up, it has to abut it like this, not the
You
taper.
can break too much without a problem, but you can't break too
Oh,
little.
little,
You can't have a
okay.
little bit of gravel on pavement, whole
Okay.
pavement, it'll share the pavement.
Sure, okay,
Just like
The new
marbles
pavement.
on hardwood floor.
Yep.
okay,
That's the.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he got that
Yeah.
immediately when we talked about it, he said,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right, you can't pave it.
Yeah, you need
Okay.
to have that clean break.
yep,
Up
yep,
top
that
end,
makes
This
sense,
is gravel.
yep, okay. So it needs to be
Cool.
cleared back, broken up, and then re-flared,
Really recompact it.
Yeah.
Like we talked about 100% that night.
yep,
800 feet or 900 feet, this was all discussed.
Okay,
okay,
but, so I guess, just so we're,
Right.
if he is not gonna do it,
right,
and we've got a guy working over there, we might as well finish it, we'll know then what it's gonna cost to do it.
right,
And
And
then
then we
we'll have a
can
basis
adjust.
for arguing our bill.
that's right,
Well,
that's right,
if one conversation didn't go well, I would let him know that this is what we're gonna do.
We don't have a choice.
We
right.
don't have a choice, we have to get this
We have to
done.
move ahead,
If you're not gonna do it, our tentative plan is whatever this is gonna cost,
it's
It's
coming
coming
off
off
the
the
top,
because that's what we agreed to pay. So,
No, and I think not just this one, any of these guys have to realize that just saying, I'm not gonna, oh, don't charge me.
Yeah.
That isn't always an out.
no.
We could be in a situation where Pike's saying, you know, you're gonna lose 10% of your
Sure.
bid, cause we can't pay.
Right,
if Pike wasn't being as nice as, or I say nice, but
Accommodating.
accommodating is a better word. If they weren't being accommodating right now, we could be in very.
That's
We would go to
right.
court.
that's right,
Yeah.
that's right, we'd be paving over something that we know,
We probably would be going to court.
Right.
We'd be trying to get back what
Yeah,
Pike
yeah.
was taking.
Yeah.
Because of him not completing the job.
yeah,
So,
so,
fortunately, we're not in that situation.
right,
Or somebody else is also fortunate that we're not in that situation.
that's
Well,
right.
That's kind of the
that's
way I
right.
feel about it.
That's
is
exactly
We're in the
right,
middle of this.
We're not really being the tough guys here.
No.
We're just taking it,
Yeah.
honestly.
And agreeing to accept inferior work by simply saying, okay, you don't have to pay me.
No.
That's really generous.
Right, but we still, I mean, he knows that we still need to,
We still have to fix that
Correct it.
popple log. That all
Right.
has to be ripped out, it has to be
so
done
that's
right.
not helping us, that we don't
And
have to
honestly,
pay
at the end of
him.
the
We know we don't have to pay
Right,
him.
we didn't have to pay him if he didn't do it.
Exactly,
But the other
I
thing
mean,
you
he's
need to
not
think
doing us
about
any
even with
favor.
that, what he's done over there, is that actually gonna cost us more money? Because now we have to remove all of that 6-inch riprap out.
I doubt it, but it's a reasonable question.
But
Did
I'm-
he make it worse, in other words?
But I'm just
I
saying,
don't
Oh,
think
yeah,
so.
in order
The
to,
papa log, you mean?
Yeah.
in order to put the riprap in there that you need, you're gonna have to take everything
The
out.
one to ask would be, if Steve's over there, ask him to look at it.
yeah,
And see, you know,
Yeah, 'cause Steve
I doubt
actually
it's
saw it.
changed much.
yeah,
He basically
Oh, I-
pounded some
He
small
just
rock
pounded-
in there.
Yeah, that's all
I,
he did.
I understand, but you're gonna have to take all them out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's
He
3
wouldn't have to
scoops
take-
with an excavator.
Yeah, yeah.
Steve was gonna dig that thing way down. And that big rock that you see, that's what you use in there.
I would ask, just make sure.
I've asked him twice to take a look at it, and he hasn't had time yet to do
No,
that.
that's fine.
And he said, is it okay if we hold that until next year? And I said, well, at this point, yeah.
It is, but at this point, we're already questioning the bill and going with the thought process.
That's
that
true.
That's
I'm
right,
not
We
gonna
just wanna be
charge you, you're
whole.
okay?
that's right.
Yeah,
If I get a contractor that says, I gotta charge you an extra 3 hours with an excavator now, that's a reasonable number that you not charging me for is costing me money.
That's right.
That's my, would just like to know. Because that's where you saying you don't wanna charge me, it's like, yeah, I know, but now I'm gonna
Yeah,
knock
but it's gonna
off.
cost us.
It's gonna cost me an extra
More.
$300, you're gonna take it off somewhere else.
well, and this idea that, that you had to ditch under the culvert so you could put the culvert in, so you get to charge me for ditching? Now, he didn't say that.
He did
One of
not
our
say
road
that.
committee members said that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's not fair to hang that on him. We'll know when we get the bill. If you deduct for culverts, how many feet of ditching should there be? Or you know that, or do you?
It was,
It was measured.
it was measured. It was, I think it's gonna be right around 2,500 feet
Okay,
of ditching, and it was 1479 of shoulder work.
okay. And how many culverts were there? The driveway
Four.
culverts? Four driveway
Four
culverts.
driveway culverts. And he did 4 additional culverts, cross culverts. Because in the contract, with the 800-foot section, I still had that culvert in that 22,400. And this is kind of, we're up in arms here, I said, but we knew that he didn't bid that 22,400 feet
Correct.
with the culvert in it. But I was told, yeah, but it's his fault if he didn't read the contract.
It is, it definitely is.
So I don't
So
know.
you got 2 catch-22s going
Oh,
on.
yeah.
I do, so, but then another one said to me that we weren't gonna be charged for the estimated amount of gravel that he was using on that 800 feet. But now he's saying just pay me what the contract said.
Oh.
But he adjusted, didn't he adjust to 12 inches or something? I don't know
No,
what the
his was
difference
12-inch bid anyway.
is. Oh,
But he didn't
sorry.
use everything that he thought he was gonna use. He didn't use all the gravel that he thought he would use in that section, is what
When
I've
you
been
don't
told.
compact it, you don't need as much.
That's right.
And it's not 12
There you
inches.
go.
See, I mean, the road committee's working for us both ways at this
Yes,
point.
it is.
Well, they're just
There's
advisory.
And they don't know
They're
that.
just advisory.
No, but I mean, there's nothing
Well, no,
wrong
but
with,
the information.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
right, but I mean, there's nothing wrong with having extra eyes around watching all of this stuff and seeing what's going on. And just like that, having those guys go out there and take the time that they love spending the time helping to measure how much did they do for shoulder removal? How many feet did they do for ditching?
Right.
That's perfect, I think. We got volunteers that wanna help do that stuff and
It's
somebody
ideal.
doesn't have to do it.
It's ideal.
So,
As long as everybody's working for the same
Right.
end
Same
result.
goal.
Right.
Yeah.
As long as there's not too much chaos.
So, do you need a motion to not
Yes.
shim?
Yes, to,
We're not gonna
However
do
you're
any
going to-
paving, any asphalt work on the Sills Mills Road.
correct.
So I make a motion that we, rescind our previous motion to do asphalt work on the Sills Mills Road for 2017.
second.
All in favor? It's unanimous.
Do you need anything for a motion to move funds around if needed to do your gravel or do ditching or to use them funds that he was going to spend somewhere else?
Yes, I would prefer that, just to
Well,
see why.
you've got between now and next Wednesday, if you
Sure.
have a need,
Okay.
you'll have a question for us, and we'll be able to act on that.
Yeah, and then maybe by then, I don't know if it's possible, by then you'll have an idea, because the
The grading bids might be in.
ditching part, we're probably gonna have to put that up for bid. The
Yeah.
culvert work, you could do like we're doing, you're doing a few at a time to see how they're going and moving it forward that way.
Yeah.
But the ditching part, we're kinda,
That repair, that, not to go back to a sort, but if he isn't gonna finish those ends, we definitely want to know what it's gonna cost to fix that this year.
yes.
So that's a
That's-
priority.
Anything to do with Silver's Mills for next year, is priority.
Yeah, and this bill, I don't want, I wanna know
Right.
before we write
You
any
don't-
checks,
oh, yeah.
what's left hanging.
Yeah,
Like you said, if the Papa log is now more expensive, we should know that.
right.
I mean, maybe it's not, maybe I'm
I
worried
suspect
about.
it isn't, but it's worth a look.
It's worth asking.
Yep,
It's-
but we do know that those pieces of pavement on both ends do need to be prepped properly. Everybody, even the person who's not doing it, agrees that it needs to be done, so. Alright,
So, so we aren't going to do anything with regard to the moving the money yet, because we're gonna meet next Wednesday, not this Wednesday, the following
Correct,
Wednesday.
the 18th, and
we
it's at
should be-
6 o'clock.
Okay,
As a
that's
reminder.
right, that's right.
oh, that's right, okay.
I'll try to remember when I leave Augusta. Or the day before, or
Tell your phone
that
to
morning.
Okay, so,
Six.
leaving road work, now we're on to what really is technically a workshop, and it's has to do with the personnel policy review. Did you guys enjoy your reading?
Can I make a quick recommendation?
Yes, go right ahead, Dave.
I read through a lot of this. A lot of this is a lot of excessive verbiage. In my own opinion, a personnel policy should state the fact and what it is, period. We don't need anything extra in here. And a lot of this stuff, I think we need really to know more of what the minimum state.
Well, in front of each of you, I printed these today.
Oh,
This is kind of what MMA says you have to have, and what's surprising is, you don't really have to have very much.
You don't.
and that's what,
And,
Yeah.
and
That's
they
what you're
said,
saying.
they actually recommend that you do more than the minimum,
right?
but.
But you gotta be careful, because your verbiage needs to stay small, because the more you wanna talk, the more you're gonna get yourself in trouble.
Yeah, the more
Or
entangled it
in-
gets.
Yeah, yeah,
Intent,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
So this is a good thing to review. I think for our purposes the reason we needed to do this early is because we have an enrollment deadline on our insurance for November.
Yeah, I think it's November 15th to February 15th is enrollment.
Okay.
Okay,
correct?
so
So
we have,
Oh, so
We-
wait,
we have a
open
window.
enrollment
Open
starts
enrollment?
in November
Yes.
and goes to February.
I
we wanna
believe-
have it
We need
teed
to have our
up.
packages nailed down for the beginning of open enrollment.
Okay,
So
Okay.
this,
Right,
the insurance
got it.
piece is what,
yeah, is driving this train.
Right.
but that's what we need to get, then we can work on this.
And we have an encumbrance too. If you read this policy, you'll see that we have a carve out. We have one particular employee that is required, and we've looked at this, we can't really change that. Is that fair to say?
No, you can,
We can change that?
We can.
you can.
Okay. All right, so that we're flexible as far as that goes.
You are, just keep in mind, elections are in March.
Yeah, well, no, all of that's always true, but we gotta,
Doesn't
we
matter what
gotta,
we do, elections come.
yeah, this culvert,
That's right.
that insurance product, it's not gonna end, so.
No,
So, you've got this spreadsheet,
Yep.
okay?
yep,
Currently, we're doing POSC. Okay, that's what we provide at 80%, is that correct?
80%.
Do we do 80% straight across, employee only 80%, right?
It is only employee, individual, is that what you mean? Not
Single
family?
person,
Yes.
So does that mean, how does that work if you do employees plus spouse? What do we pay?
You still only pay 80% of the single coverage.
Okay,
And all of the upgrade
Is on the
goes to the
employee.
employee, okay.
for any,
Additional.
so 80% of this premium here is what, it would,
80% of the single person premium,
okay, so we're talking about 1,023.73.
right.
So 80% of that?
Yes, it's 818.98 is 80% of that.
That's a monthly,
That is
so we
monthly.
Okay,
put this
this-
in terms that
okay.
I understand, we provide $819 of benefit dollar.
Correct.
819, is that what it is?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
rounded, yeah.
Okay,
Currently, per employee,
Yes,
all employees, well, except for one. The
Yes.
one we provide the full.
correct.
819, got it. Per month,
and we also currently do 50% of the husband's dental, that's in the policy, that's in our current
per one person, right?
Right, correct. No one else gets a carve out on dental, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Nobody gets any dental?
They do, they get 80% of dental.
They get,
The
okay, so-
individual does,
Individual,
okay.
Yes.
But nobody else's spouse does,
correct.
okay.
Okay, let's go down through this. So we're getting 80% of POS three, retire with Medicaid.
POSC, correct?
C, yeah.
C, okay,
Yep.
got it, good.
So these are the retirement ones that we're paying too, or are they paying?
No, you talk about retiree with Medicare?
Yeah.
No, we don't have anybody that follows that plan.
Okay, so
Okay, so this
that's
is
off
non-
the,
we don't
that
talk
doesn't
about this.
exist
Right.
for us.
So, a dental, a single person, we're paying 80% of theirs.
Of
Of the
4210.
Correct.
Yes.
And in one instance, we're paying 50% of the additional to get to spouse.
Actually, that's what the policy says, but she's actually overpaying that because somebody miscalculated.
Okay. All right, probably somebody
Which is
professional.
probably a bad
Yes,
thing.
a certified,
Yeah, okay. So, that's, all right, so just so we know where but no one else even has such a calculation. If you
Correct.
add a spouse, it's a full add.
It's totally up to
Right.
the
Okay.
employee.
right. I pay family price, so I get the 80% of the 4210 and then I pay the rest of that.
Okay, what about vision?
Vision is not in your policy, it's
Not at
all on the employee.
Okay, so
Okay.
the employee can pick it up, but we don't provide it.
Income protection, we know the deal on that.
It's 80%.
I
And
didn't
that's-
realize that's how that's panned out, honestly.
What, that the town pays 80%?
I knew that, but I didn't realize it was based off from so much per month per hundred.
It's on the, yeah, it's on the annual salary.
What,
So do we actually know?
So what is that
On an average of
Yeah, what does that
we're
add up
paying
to?
per person? I know we're varying, but,
per month? To just sort of meet.
well, let's do it this way. If we do 7, so let's say what's... $2,500 a month annual, is that a alright number to use? And then it's times $2 100, so we,
No, I don't think it's that much. I mean, it's only like $30 a month for me. Maybe 50 for me, 30 for Public Works.
A month.
I mean, if we average everybody right now, we say 15 an hour. So 15,
well, it says the employee may select 40, 55, or 70. But
And
if
we do
we're,
80.
if we're paying 80% of that, why wouldn't you
How is
all
that even on
elect
there?
70?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that
well, it's covering 40,
Right.
55, or 70 of their annual salary,
Depending on what
But-
they select.
Right,
And
Right,
we're
and
paying
what do we-
80% of the cost.
right.
correct?
And
So
they've
you're gonna
all
select.
picked 70%.
Oh, they've all
Well,
paid
sure you
70,
would.
sure,
It's-
sure, sure.
Right.
It's free, essentially.
Right.
Right.
I may select 40 minutes per month for each one a month.
Guess I missed, did we miss that or not understand that?
Wait, it still doesn't make
Is it in here?
sense to me.
Is it in the policy?
It just says.
So basically
Yeah.
what it is they're
Yes.
saying, you, as in, you decide what you want.
Okay, but the premium doesn't change.
Yes, it's based
It-
off
based-
from
yes.
the amount of coverage. So if you're selecting 70%,
Right.
then your annual salary, what that 70% total number would be is the covered.
Okay,
So
I
that's-
see, per hundred.
Right,
I
so like
gotcha,
what
I
Mike's
gotcha.
saying,
I
of course you're
gotcha.
gonna pick 70 because
I have a price sheet.
Your participation does go up, but very small.
Right.
minimal.
Right. Right. Wow. Okay. And we do 80.
We currently pick up 80% of that.
Oh.
And that was added last year.
Everybody's 70 that they
Correct.
want income. Gotcha,
Long-term
gotcha.
disability, employer paid 40 cents per 100 of covered payroll.
And look at the bottom, it says, long-term disability must have 100% enrollment if employer paid.
Why wouldn't you have 100% enrollment though? If you're not paying for it, it's employer paid.
Yeah, well, that's what MMA is saying. If you're gonna pay for it, you gotta do it for everybody.
Oh,
Yeah, you can't have a policy
Uh.
that says, I'm not gonna cover this person because of that job.
And if
Or
it's
give an
age-
extra person different benefits.
If it's employee paid, it's age banded. which makes a huge difference.
Say that again, Mike?
See where below it says
For-
employee paid, age banded. So
So,
that means if you're
Bracket.
63,
Yeah.
you're gonna pay a lot more than if you're 23.
right,
Because the odds of you having a long-term disability are much greater.
So
right,
are we probably in that same thing?
Well, what they're doing is, it's a flat rate, because they basically pool it all, we're paying it
Oh,
all.
we're paying it all, so you're paying.
So they don't get, so the
you're
young
paying-
guy
They don't
isn't
care.
paying more,
Right.
we pay it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's-
But the other side of it is if you've got a bunch of younger employees.
Oh, yeah.
You're paying a higher average.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what we pay on this.
I have no idea. Well, it's based off from that.
100, what? Because we do
We pay
employer
40% of every $100 of coverage.
covered payroll,
If we did option 3, I don't know what we do.
uh-huh,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't find it in here.
Would you like to bet?
yeah, exactly.
I would bet, I bet a BLT pizza.
Oh, I'm hungry, don't say that.
We should have had one.
We should have.
They should have. Still not too late. Okay, and then what about life insurance? We don't.
I don't know what we
don't know.
provide,
No.
Lois will know.
Okay. So in the meantime,
All of this is
I
up
like
for
that. Wait a minute, though.
negotiation.
Right.
I mean,
This is interesting though, we ought to just, basic life insurance is 30 cents per $1,000 of coverage per month. No cost if enrolled in health insurance.
accidental death and disability is very limited. That's basic life.
oh,
Correct.
So it only pays in an
Correct.
accident.
But I mean, you're not paying 30 per thousand,
Right.
which is not a bad thing.
Lois, do you know on long-term disability, do we have anybody participating in that? Are we paying? Nobody.
Nobody's
Okay.
even in that?
We don't offer it?
We don't offer it.
Okay.
All we offer is income protection.
okay, so long-term disability, we do not need to discuss then?
Well, we should,
Or
we
we
can
can
discuss to
visit.
decide if we wanna,
Well, if we want to make it available, I would make it available
Yeah,
to the
employee.
employee
Yeah,
age band.
sure.
Option 4.
sure,
Sure, yep,
with whatever we're gonna decide on a
Right,
percentage.
as a package.
Yeah, I think not offering, to me, it's like not the.
yeah, I mean,
Yep. Now, what about
Life
now the way
insurance.
this is saying is no cost of health, on the life insurance, the basic is free, if you're in your health insurance.
Yes.
And then for the supplemental, it's 30 cents per thousand of coverage. Do we help with any of that? Is that 100% employee pay?
Typically, if they get health insurance, they get life insurance free.
Accidental death and membership.
They get the
Not
supplemental?
supplemental.
Correct. They would get the basic, they wouldn't get the supplemental.
Oh,
Correct, the
including
basic
AD&D.
life,
Yeah,
right, the
okay.
basic.
But do we have anybody, you know, that's, or do we have any cost associated with supplemental? Do we pay a percentage?
Mine you pay $12 a month on because I don't have the insurance.
On the
health
supplemental?
cover. I think it's basic.
Okay, so we pay $12 a month because of you don't have health
Because I don't
insurance.
have health
So it's not
insurance.
free. But we don't actually
Right.
pay anything on a supplemental.
No,
Okay.
correct.
So is basic life like 1 year's salary, 2 years
Yes,
salary?
1 year's salary.
1 year's salary, okay. So that's how we're, okay. And we're paying 12 a month for you to have that. Does anyone else have it? Because it's included in their health insurance, we don't
Right,
have to pay.
correct.
Ah.
Everybody else gets it because.
Which
it's on
you
the-
are about to enroll,
Yes,
Correct.
so this is going away.
correct.
But in the same way, the way that she's explaining this, same way, this is all part of her cost anyway, it's not in our cost. We're not supplementing it. But we are because that's a different scenario, but.
Okay,
And we don't have anything to do with dependent life, that's just an added cost for the employee. We're not doing a percentage of
No.
it. So really, we got mainly just the health, dental, vision, and income protection.
yep,
Well, you don't offer vision, you don't pay
No.
any part of the vision, but you do, but they can get it, yes.
Personally, I think we should, but that's my own opinion. I think if you're gonna offer health insurance, if you're gonna offer health and dental, you should, part of that benefit dollar, part of it should be part of vision too. That's me.
well, when you say we don't offer it, they can't even enroll in it?
They
if
can,
want
they
to?
can.
Oh, they gotta pay
This
for
is
it,
in-
yeah, that's
We have
fine.
no benefit there.
Yeah.
Right.
I have to pay for mine. I can get it, but I have to pay for it.
I pay, but you know what I mean, I get that a little bit off, so.
Okay, so
And I did not get numbers back from Cameron Kimball, from Kimball Agency on private health.
but you asked him?
I did,
Okay,
a couple weeks ago.
yeah.
And I sent him a reminder last week.
So. What is the big difference? When we get into like the PPO 500?
Well, there, I got them all listed right here. 500, the large number, when you get down to 200, 500, that's your deductible per individual. So that's an easy way to kind of keep track of it. So in answer to your question,
Oh,
PPO
okay.
500 is a $500 single deductible.
Okay.
1,000 family. The co-insurance is 80%, so on and so forth. So that first number is your big number. That's your personal deduction. And then you essentially can double it for the family.
Okay.
So I'll
Okay.
go to the very bottom one, that PPO 25.
100?
So, but I'm just, honestly, I'm trying to look at this, nothing against anybody with a town or that type of, I'm trying to look at this and flip it over into the area, what's the majority of people in our area, what do they have for insurance?
Well,
The $1,500, $2,500 deductible is pretty common in our area
Yep.
for our insurance. I'm not saying that's the direction, but I'm just
I
trying
have-
to get us,
Terry and I have the 25.5. That's what we have.
yeah, I have
Yep.
15, but.
And
Can't
now
afford
out of network, it gets really crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Out of network, it goes 5 and 10, okay? So that's kinda how it works.
Yep.
Now, you get into, it gets a little bit more complicated because I don't know what the threshold is here. I'm sure at 25 it is, but it may even be at 15. You're allowed to have health savings accounts. And that's something that we could provide,
Correct.
and we could seed them.
Correct.
And there are huge advantages to these things. I don't know how long they're gonna be available, because we know the whole healthcare thing is kind of on its ear, but, so one of the things you could do is we could say, all right, we'll just stick with 2,500 because it's the low. We're gonna pay 80% of the 2,500 deductible, but we will put, for every employee that enrolls, $400 in a healthcare savings account to help you with your deduction. You can do that,
Right,
and they can put some of their own money in there
right,
too.
right.
But you want it there's two types. One requires very onerous accounting, and if you don't spend it at the end of the year, you lose it. That's not the
Oh,
one you
no.
want.
No,
The one you want is essentially, if you don't use it, it becomes your money at retirement. It's
Oh.
qualified, your contributions go in pre-tax, there's some advantages to it.
Wow.
But it's very specific as to how you qualify on that. I don't set those up, I don't exactly do the rules. It's something that would be worth looking into, particularly if we adopt a high deductible policy.
Right,
Because that would be a great way to offset the
right,
impact.
right,
And for healthy people, it's a no-brainer.
right, exactly.
Essentially lowering your taxable income
Yeah,
for later.
yep, yep.
So, I mean-
Putting the money away.
When I look at these numbers, in my world, a $500 deductible is a supreme Cadillac plan.
Yeah, I agree
Oh, yeah,
100%.
in today's world,
I mean,
that is.
yeah.
yes.
So, but I mean, if I look at that number, and if you stayed with the same thought process of an 80-20, which is an unheard of split still, nobody's splitting 80-20 anymore. That's $697 to the town.
For which one?
For the 500, PPO.
PPO 500.
Yeah.
And right now, we're paying $819.
$819 per month, per person. So I mean, that alone, that's $120 savings per person. And I don't think, I mean, that's still a pretty nice plan.
That is a nice plan.
I just wanna go back and revisit your comment on the nobody does 80-20. Municipalities and schools do.
Is that right?
Oh, no,
Schools are
they,
unions,
Yeah.
number one,
Actually, they're closer to 90, 95, depending on the school.
all
and a lot of
my,
these towns around here aren't even offering insurance.
That surprises me.
Yeah, so I called around.
But I know in Bradford, they cover 100%.
Yeah.
Milford
Oh.
covers 80%
But which
of
plan?
family.
But which plan do they cover?
Yeah, well, that's a good point.
POS 200. That's the only one they offer.
Yeah,
in
and we've got
Barnstable.
some towns that are just doing crack sealing now because their benefits are absolutely crippling them.
Correct.
And I don't think it's gonna get better, I think it's gonna
No.
get worse.
I mean, I'm not looking to crush our employees, I'm not looking to, and I'm not, honestly, my opinion is you can't give somebody a Cadillac plan and stuff them in a Volkswagen tomorrow. I think
Right,
that's
Right.
very wrong.
right.
You mean, pull it out from under them.
Correct.
Right.
Right.
Now, I do think that we need to change, and we need to move us in a better
Wean
direction.
them off of these
Yes,
couches.
my own opinion is, you can either, there's two ways to do it, and I wouldn't even mind having their input, you know? Is it better for some to stay in a Cadillac plan and your 80-20 moves to 70-30? Or is it better to drop us back out of the Cadillac plan, drop us back to, I mean, I just picked that one because it was 500, not saying that's a direction. Maybe we could go a little higher, a little lower.
I think one way to, you mentioned their input, I think maybe the way to get input is to motivate people to scrutinize these things more. You know,
How they're using
yeah,
it.
if you had a Cadillac plan that was essentially paid for you, and your deductible was almost nothing, you never probably really scrutinized it very much.
No.
Because you never really had to.
Right, didn't impact you.
One way is, you take, if you say to an employee tomorrow, guess what, we're gonna pay 100% of your insurance. Now, your deductible's going up a lot, so you may wanna pay attention to that. And you, now they're motivated to look at this. And so maybe the 500 plan, I'll just pick, I'm just
That's
picking,
all I did
right?
too, I didn't know.
Maybe the 500 plan, we're only gonna pay 75% of that one. And the 2500 plan, we'll pay 100% of that one.
Correct.
Now, if you're young and healthy and you might say, hey, that's fine with me, it's, my insurance is free.
Right,
And before I had to pay 20%.
right, yeah.
It's a better deal for the town, and you're fine with it.
Right.
But at least we've engaged you, you're thinking about your health care.
Right,
So I would kind of be leaning towards a formula where they have a conscious decision. You know, I'm giving something up to get something.
right.
Well, and that's why instead of the, honestly, I like the thought process because it's easier to manage it going forward as well. When you're stuck into percentages, you're stuck into that every year. Do we stay at 80-20? Do we move to 79-21? How do we tighten this up so we keep them in it? Whereas if we can switch over to the concept of benefit dollars, so let's just say, let's go with Mike's theory or his thought process. If we say the $2,500 plan, we'll give you that plan and we're gonna pay 100%. So that means this year, because it's now enrollment, this just come out, our benefit dollar this year is gonna be $692.81. We can offer them other plans, but that's all we're gonna pay.
And they can pick up a different plan.
Right.
And
Correct.
pay the
So
balance.
if
So I
the-
mean, if you wanna percentage it wise in your head, you can, but at the end of the day, we're doing benefit dollars.
And they can use them as
However they
When I
do.
talked to Maine Municipal, they said a lot of towns are doing just that.
Yeah.
They pick a plan, we
Right.
pay 100%.
Now, we're only
if they
allowed to
want
offer
higher.
3.
We are only allowed to offer 3. And there is a difference between the POS and the PPO, and I'm not sure, I think it has something to do with preferred providers.
Yes,
it does.
Versus,
That's
point of
the-
service.
one doesn't need
Yes.
a referral,
Right,
Right.
one is a referral type.
and the PPO, I believe, does not need a referral.
no, I think PPO have to have referral.
Okay. Point of
But I'm not,
service.
I
Isn't
don't,
it
honestly, I
one
don't care, we
service
could
bills?
offer, I mean, if we're gonna move to that philosophy, as far as a benefit dollar, I don't care if you pick the high, you pick the low, and you pick the middle. Because
Right, right.
we're only gonna pay one amount anyway.
Right,
Right.
we're giving you X dollars
Right,
and
so-
what is the deductible on the POSC? Currently, what is the deductible for the
Oh, it's
current
very-
policy? Is it
It's,
in that? Oh,
He's printed off all the.
oh,
from
The
website.
POSC is a 0 deductible. Plan pays 90% of co-insurance.
Are you kidding?
No.
Wow, that's a great benefit.
That's why it's very expensive.
That's just unheard of.
So, I know, this is a little personal, but it's funny that you were talking about this, because my daughter sent me this text picture today of a medical bill from my insurance she just got, from Eastern Maine Medical Center. And the bill was for sideways, I can't turn my phone.
Yeah.
So it's for $470.50, and my insurance paid $269. So out of a $470 doctor bill, she owes $201. That's slightly different than 90%.
And every one of the, like, for example, it says lab and x-ray. If you're on the Sterling Silver plan, it's $15, $25.
Sure.
Then it goes $25, $40.
Yeah.
So everything is,
Every little increment of it, can you see the actual difference between POS and PPO?
I'm sure it's here, but no, I have not found it yet. I was looking at
That should be the verbiage.
Clearly, once you drop below the C plan,
Hmm.
then you're into the PO world.
No, the 200.
Well,
Yeah, that's
POS 200.
POSC is,
No, the 200. POS 200 is.
POS 200, I have it right here.
It's under the C.
200 deductible, 500 family, 400 family, I'm sorry. 80% co-insurance. And then everything is 80%.
That's like back in the 80s.
I know.
That's all I can think
Well,
of.
I have a lot of friends who work for state government, and when they went from $100 deductible for $200, they were raving mad.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
you guys have no idea.
I'm
Yeah,
still offered all of that.
yeah.
I
No,
mean,
we're not even. It's not even in our universe.
Yeah, no, if I go on my Insperity, I can enroll into those plans. I still have $100 deductible options. I have like 12 different insurance.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, you can pick one, I don't care.
Wow.
But I mean, it's just, I'd get an IOU at the end of the week.
Yeah, right, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, we run into that, and that's why I don't mind offering that better plan, because I work with a lot of people that, between a husband or spouse or whatever, they have enough medically going on that it's still better for them. They're in some of these plans because, they're barely getting a paycheck every week, but they don't have that option. That's the sole purpose of what one person does, is work. Just so
For
they
the
can have
insurance,
that
for the insurance, yeah.
So I mean, I understand that whole,
Right. And Dale, when you were proposing, an X number of insurance dollars, does that also include somebody cherry picking whether they want dental and part of that?
typically that's how you would do it. I mean, usually a benefit dollar is offering your health insurance, and then as a group, you decide each one the same way. Now, you can do a benefit dollar off your health if you wanted to, but so let's just hypothetically jump to dental for 2 seconds. If we're gonna make this change in health, and you only get one dental plan, basically, it's $42. If you don't feel you want to make that, we could still leave dental as a percentage base. Or you could do the same thing. You could, we took this hit up here, so you could look at it as, well, I'll offer dental for the single as the 100% to keep us in line, and then they use that $42.10 benefit dollar if they have a spouse or a child and family. In the same way with the vision, you could do the same thing if we wanna add that for part of it. If you want to include a percentage of vision or include the vision, you base it off, your percentages off from your single, and whatever that dollar value is, you just carry that forward. So then you're staying equal with all your employees and with all
Yeah.
levels of
Yeah.
coverage.
Yeah.
You're positive that we can make changes to this policy that treats everyone the same?
Yes.
Okay.
And our policy.
Because I thought you had made a call either to MMA or the attorney, and we could not change that,
no,
but,
I did send MMA, no, we can.
okay.
I was
So,
confused
I
because
think
I
everybody
didn't
should
get-
be the same,
I
ultimately.
think-
Absolutely.
I am a firm believer that your benefit level at any place of employment is a whole. Your individual is part of your job, and you need to be rewarded per job by your hourly rate or.
It's part of
or
your
whatever.
compensation.
That's part of your
Yeah,
pay rate.
yeah, not
But
a
your benefit level
I was
is
surprised
not
you could
I don't
carve
know.
off, do carve
Right.
offs. I didn't think you could
Give
do
a
it.
better
I would-
benefit
I would
to one
question if that's
employee.
legal.
Yeah,
Well, I don't know. They had, actually, it was written by Eaton Peabody.
I would question if that's legal.
That what is?
That you
giving
can
a
do a
better
carve-off.
benefit to one employee.
You can if they're contracted. So like Chris is contracted, Milford says they pay 100% of his plus 80% of mine, whereas all the other employees, it's either 100% of single
But we
or
can't take an hourly
80%
Because they're
employee.
hourly,
family.
because
Right, and
they're
this policy
hourly,
says
they're
that.
not salary.
This policy says if you're contracted, and you're at odds with this, it doesn't matter. Our policy says that.
Right.
So you could
Yeah,
do
yeah,
the same
yeah,
thing
yeah.
here.
Yeah.
But non-contracted employees should all fall under the same
Right.
rules, I would think.
I think
But currently, they don't.
So currently our policy contradicts itself.
That's.
Well, unless it's
Legally.
allowed. I don't know that it's not allowed,
I know, but what I'm saying is that we have a statement in our policy that says it can only deviate under a contracted person.
Correct.
And then later in it, we say,
Well, no, what it says there actually, it says if it does deviate on a contracted person, that's okay.
alright, so
It
it
doesn't say
actually-
only.
Doesn't say only
Oh,
it can.
Right,
yeah,
right.
okay, so
But-
that's how
alright.
it's clarified.
But I don't know that there's any problem with a carve out. You might be able to do it. I'm just surprised if you can, that's all.
I would
I
prefer
am
not
too.
to have a carve out.
I would
Right.
too, I just
I mean, a
think,
contract's a contract. Now, I can understand through this process that we've been through, when you get into negotiations of hiring a contractual town manager.
Totally different.
That's
Yep.
not
Yeah,
the
yeah,
same
yeah.
conversation as my
Yeah.
hourly employees.
yep,
So
Yep.
I can understand the contracted part.
Yep.
My everyday hourly employees, I would just as soon have them all on the same page,
yep,
Yep,
yep.
whatever that page is.
right,
So,
okay,
the question is, back, and we're not gonna, I'm kinda
Do we-
leaning towards we shouldn't make motions and
Nope.
determinations tonight.
we're
This
just
is a brainstorm.
workshopping,
Yep,
right.
yep.
Do
Yeah.
do you know current cost? Is current cost compared to this cost, how much of an increase it was? Or
This is current
This is
cost.
current?
They won't come out with a new cost
Oh, so
for
we don't even
another
know.
month.
We don't
Oh.
know.
Well, we don't know what kind of a bump we're looking at.
Whoa,
So we've gotta make our determination based on current prices, not future prices. Is that fair to say? We won't get any heads up? Because they might even
You will before the
change.
end of the year, but
The
not before you
the
press off.
PPO 25 could turn into a PPO 3000.
Cost wise, sure.
it could, and there was some discussion that was sent, and I couldn't find it in an email. They're totally reworking the dental plan, and people aren't happy about it.
Okay.
They were working something else too. Basically, the deductibles are going up.
Yeah, well, that's what they're all doing. It's like, hey, your insurance didn't go up.
At the end of the day, if this is this year's, we know we're not gonna see a piece of paper cheaper.
That's correct. It's only gonna
Right.
get more onerous.
that's
And
exactly,
Typically speaking,
it goes up,
well, the only thing that makes me nervous with our thought process we have right now, I know from my history of looking at plans, the way insurance costs usually work, the middle plans don't usually go up as much in percentage as your lesser plans. Because more people tend to drift to the lower, so the increase tends to be a little higher on the lower end, which helps offset the cost of the higher end. No idea about MMA, no idea about how they do theirs, if they do a complete, we're going straight across the board, so they're all gonna go up, if they're going up 2%, they're all gonna go up 2%.
2% is gonna be cheap. Usually it's closer to 5 to 7.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, the national average is closer to 7, yes. So conceptually though, do we all agree that maybe a selection process on the employee's part that is more engaging, where they actually have
Yeah.
decisions to make, where,
I think that's key.
yeah,
okay, so
Yep.
which ones we're gonna pick, we'll work with, but that's, okay?
yep, I think that's a great idea.
And we're not going to change, our current policy is our participation is for a single person. We don't pay for spouses,
Correct.
and we're not gonna change that.
But we pay whatever that number is towards this spouse.
No.
No.
We don't.
No,
We pay for the
We
single.
pay 80, right, but we pay 80% of this number,
single person,
which comes off from the family number. So what you're saying is true, but it's false, because we still pay that 80% of the single.
Well, are you,
And everything
are
else
you,
is going up.
let's use a POSC, okay? If I'm a single person, I would receive 80% of $1,023.
$819.
Okay, if I'm married, the bill is now $2,296 or $2,300.
Correct.
Are you thinking that the town pays 80% of $2,300?
No, the town pays the 80% of the 1,023.
Correct.
Right.
That's applied towards the other.
And all of the increase beyond that is
Is-
paid
From the
for.
employee.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so we're not paying for the spouse. We don't
Right.
pay.
Correct, we pay basically a benefit dollar off the single.
Right,
Right.
yeah,
That's what
We're
we
saying
said.
the same thing, we said different.
Well, the net result was, it doesn't cost the town more because you enroll your
Correct.
spouse.
right,
Correct.
Okay.
right.
In
There's
any
no
plan.
benefit
Right, and we're not
for
gonna
a
change that.
dependent or a spouse.
Well, that's what we gotta, because we can't make a decision. We gotta talk about that, yes. but-
Right,
Correct.
if,
If, the thought process, if we move to a benefit dollar theory, so like what you said, so if we move to the 692, just using that because it's a number that's there.
Right,
So if we make that our golden number, that number, basically, you would subtract that number from any other number on here.
That's right.
Yeah, that's fine, that
That's right.
works.
But it's the same idea as what we're doing now, only we're doing it 80-20 off the single.
Not exactly.
Yeah, it is,
Well, yes, it's 80-20 off the single,
but it's still the same result.
but it doesn't affect, we're still not compensating you for
Nope.
spouses.
But you're still getting, right now, what we're saying is if you take the 10-23, we're paying 80-20. So today, we are giving our employees an $819 benefit dollar. That $819 can be used in any one of them. When we go to a benefit dollar, we're still gonna do the same. If we move to that theory, the only change is we're gonna set the benefit dollar instead of base it off a percentage. Or we could still base it off a percentage.
Yeah, no, we could
We're still
do,
doing-
we
we're
could do
talking-
80% of the
Sure.
2,500 plan, and that becomes your
Correct.
benefit dollar.
Yeah, you could do 120% if you wanted to. I mean, you can do whatever you,
Yep.
but it's still that same base is gonna be transposed to everywhere.
Right, I guess what I'm getting at is, we're not gonna change the people that we provide benefits to. We currently only provide
Correct, that
benefits
part
to
of
the
the
employee,
policy is staying
the
the same.
spouse, the children, that's separate. If you wanna add them,
That's,
it doesn't
It's
really,
an added cost, it'll still be
Right.
added, yeah. no.
right, doesn't entangle, it
Doesn't
doesn't,
change
No,
anything.
no.
no, okay. So we're not gonna change that policy.
no,
We're still-
but that part of the policy is staying the same.
So-
Well, I think the verbiage isn't verbiaged properly, that's all. That's the problem.
In the policy,
Yeah. Because when you move to that level, yes, you are, but you're not. You're not because you're basing it off the other, but it's still the same.
It says
Okay.
individual. Individual
Yeah.
coverage is
Yeah.
provided at
what
20%.
page, what
Right.
are you, Lois?
But in
Just so
some, some instances, the employer will say,
Yeah,
if you're
yeah,
married,
yeah.
we'll pay 50% of your spouse.
Some, yeah.
Sure.
Right,
Yeah,
and
no,
if
that's
you're
what I'm saying,
a
I'm not
family,
changing that,
right,
no.
so we're not
No.
going there, that's all. That's all.
But we
I'm
haven't
saying.
had any conversation about going there.
Well, I get, that was a question, not a statement. Do we want to change that? And you don't have to answer
No.
today, we can think about it
Yeah,
till
we can.
Wednesday. Dental, we currently pay 80% for a single person, and we have one carve out that we're going, that we need to consider, if we're gonna be consistent, of changing that,
Correct,
okay.
So we pay 33.68 right now, just so you have a number.
right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, we can keep it at 80, we can go to 50, we can do any number of things we want, but that's,
Right,
Where it's at.
that's where it is, right.
the income protection plan, we're currently at 80. And everyone's just essentially taking 70% of their
70%.
income, I would think, because we're paying so much of it.
Right,
Personally, I have to pay for mine. I do. If I want it, I gotta pay for it. If I don't want it, I don't have to take it.
Well, that's what this is, right? So
Yeah.
if we just pick a round number, 20,000.
That's
monthly
right,
premium,
30.
okay, pick 30,
Right,
all right,
so you're talking $35 a month. Right?
Yeah, roughly $400 a year.
Yep.
Four
403.
ten. Yeah,
Yep.
there you go. Oh, yeah,
485.
yeah.
So that's what we're paying now.
Yes.
We're paying 80% of 403.28
Correct.
for a $30,000.
Correct.
Right, we're paying 80% of that.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay, so we're paying 80% of 3570.
Yeah.
Correct,
Correct.
per month. Which is, yeah,
Mike, you got it?
yeah. Let's see,
How much?
no,
22?
$28.56.
Wow. Times everybody,
right,
right? I mean, everybody's getting out.
Pretty close.
Don't know if both of my office ladies, I don't know. And I don't know if both of Public Works do.
So when that says short term, that follows the 6 to 8 weeks? Basically what that's covering is that time. frame.
Short-term
Yeah.
disability?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So wait, if they don't choose it, so if they don't,
If they opt not to enroll in income protection, they get no other benefit from the town. They get no
Which
dollars.
if
So that's-
you don't wanna
that's
give
silly
up the
that they
20
don't
cents on the
enroll
dollar,
in it.
you don't enroll, right? I
I
mean,
think there's a couple.
They don't-
that do. I don't know. I don't remember. I don't do payroll every week, so I don't remember who does
So
and doesn't.
the
This
the
is one of
ones
those
that
things we
don't,
had that we somehow, from what we were told, this is the one that got dropped off, and then we had to pick it up.
no, I thought that was the longer one, Dale.
No, it was this one.
It was this one?
It was this
Yeah.
one.
Okay. So
This
when
is
we
it.
came in and snuck it in at the
Yeah,
end?
at the end.
of what, last year
At the
budget?
town meeting,
Beginning of
yeah.
this, yeah, for town meeting.
Yeah, this is the one that, actually wasn't on the town warrant.
Oh,
I mean, I think the intention was to have it,
Yeah, it was just like,
but this one was.
We had a
You thought it
surprise
was.
need,
This one, there were two
it
accounts.
came to light at the end.
thought we had it, we didn't have it.
Right.
So
Oh.
then I think he called the agent and they backdated the policy or something, because all of a sudden we had coverage.
Right. Supposedly we'd always had it right along and nobody knew that it dropped off.
oh.
That was the question, was how did you know it didn't drop off if you're supposed to elect it? But nobody seemed to recall it.
And no one could find any record of having been withheld from pay previously.
And that was the other thing, we didn't know when the last time we ever actually had it. That would be an interesting, if you could find that out for us too.
Wait, so,
If anybody ever had it.
No, when did it fall off? I mean, we was told that, this is why we picked it up, because we was told it was an internal administrative thing,
Clerical error.
clerical error, that it got dropped from the employees, and none of them was aware that they no longer had it.
But you'd see an increase in your pay.
right,
And
But every year you would have to not elect to have it.
right.
Because
Well,
you
can
have
I-
to-
But anyway, that's behind us.
It is, but I just need
Yeah.
to want to know.
Why would you elect not to have it? You
Well,
don't get
because-
more money, do you?
No, but you're gonna
It doesn't
see,
come out of your pay though.
right, you're gonna
Your
kick in
20%.
20%.
Oh,
Well, hey, that's a pack of
Yeah, yeah,
cigarettes
yeah,
every week,
yeah, okay, I got it.
all right? I mean, it's just take home.
Yeah, I understand.
That's what it is at the end of the
You know,
day.
I have guys literally in 401k plans that won't put in the 3% that they get matched. Like, they're going
Right.
to match you, I don't care,
Okay, I'm sorry.
okay?
Yeah,
That's-
yeah,
And I understand.
yeah. Okay,
Man,
Okay.
what's that?
Yeah, I know.
All right. That ain't a long time ago.
okay.
So I guess these are all moving parts that we
Right,
can
we
change,
can
you know,
figure
we could
out
go to
what this-
50% on this.
Right.
And so then if you wanna be in, it's gonna cost you something.
Personally, what I'm
It's
thinking,
not expensive.
what I plan
Right.
on doing myself is I'm gonna go home, look at the numbers, align to where I think,
But it should be as
Fiscally,
part of
we
the
could
full
be.
package.
and then look at the end result as a whole. You know, what's the end result for us, what's the end result for them?
You know, it probably
And see from there.
would be worth doing this, rather than those guys going home, is whip off, that's every one of the plans. Cause we got a fancy new Conoco, what is that thing?
Printer,
Yeah,
copier.
so then you'll each
Honestly,
have.
I don't need a copy, Lois, because
I do.
I don't.
That's fine,
I
No,
just,
I'd like to see it.
I know my engineer will read it.
Yeah, I will, every last word. Yeah, I've never had
MMA
to
has a
do-
wealth of stuff, you know,
I've never
around
been an
policies.
employee, so I don't have any,
my only thing is that, I mean, administratively, I mean,
no,
I think
you're,
if we move more towards a benefit dollar amount.
I agree, I
And
think
then,
that, I agree
for the
there.
employees wise, I would rather have the manager say, you know, when you go to that, it doesn't matter to me which plans we use.
Yep, yeah,
It'd be more to them or to the employees, you know.
what they
This is the
need
thought
in their
process
plan.
we're gonna go to.
That's right,
This is what you have today.
right,
These are what we can do. We can only pick 3.
right,
What do you guys, if we're only gonna give you this benefit dollar, and you could have this as free insurance, would you take it? If they say no, we wouldn't,
Then-
I would pay a little more and have this, that doesn't change my thought process of where my benefit dollar is gonna come from.
I would be reticent to do 100% of any plan.
yeah,
I think you need to have,
A
it's
benefit
just like
dollar.
the guy who won't do the 3% even though he's getting matched.
Right.
I want you to at least make a decision that you want. I mean, if insurance is
Skin in the
free, you're gonna take it.
They're
But
gonna
if,
take it anyway.
right, but if it's 80%, at least you have to say, okay, I'm gonna contribute something.
right.
So, whether the plan's 700 or 720 or 800, I'm inclined to say,
well, we're gonna
the
do.
most we're gonna do is, 85%, or whatever that is. And it's, unfortunately, it's gonna change every year.
Yeah, yeah.
Not the percentage necessarily, but the amount of money, cause these things are going up every
That's
year.
right.
And then as you get to those higher deductible plans, and let's face it, if you're a person who, you know you have health issues, it might be very well worth you kicking in the extra.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, that's what I mean, I know
Yeah.
people that clearly do that.
That's
Yeah.
right. That
They're
has to do
definitely
that.
paying a lot extra money to have that better policy.
Right.
Correct.
Because at the end of the year, they're still
Ahead of the
financially
game.
better.
That's right.
Right,
Then
no,
because
it-
and
because
that's really a healthy way
That's
to
right.
approach this.
Sure.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, yep.
There's also an area, when we get into areas like vacation time and things like that, we're not really on any crunch in terms of schedule. The only thing that needs to be done for November is this insurance component. The rest of this policy, we can really, I think,
Whittle away at it.
I guess I'm not expecting this whole policy to be renovated between now and next Wednesday. What we need to have nailed down between now and next Wednesday is what we're going to do on insurance. So we can get into that offer period with an updated program.
The only thing really, I mean, if you're getting into holiday schedules, if you're gonna get into, sick time, all of that stuff.
Medical
Yep.
leave.
It would be very nice to have that done before year end,
I agree with
just
that.
so she starts off.
And so that's kind of incumbent upon us to focus on those areas. Vacation time is
Yep.
pretty liberal, and maybe that's something you wanna look at, it's all in there.
Yep,
So.
yep, yep, yep.
Yeah, this is
I mean,
key, and
sure.
then those ones are next, as
Yep.
far as I'm concerned.
Yep.
And getting the verbiage aligned so that all employees are the same.
And there's a lot of stuff on MMA around disciplinary processes, evaluation processes, there's a lot of tools
A lot
there.
of information.
And a lot of those would be for you to construct, but I mean, we could establish a policy that, once a year, a person gets a review, and it's in there.
Yep, yep.
We don't really have a set rule, I don't think.
I think it's in here.
Is there anything about M&A that allows us, can we just use theirs?
Well, they recommend that your policy be written by your attorney.
Oh,
But they have all sorts of tools and kind of templates to use. But they do seem to wanna be arm's length on the final product.
But we could use
Is that-
this as a
is that-
reference.
do they
to
say
get-
that?
Yes,
in there? They
yes, yeah. But it's surprising, there's very little that's actually required. They're all things like, posting of, the Family Leave Act, and
Yeah,
those things
okay.
are required.
Right.
DOL things.
Yeah.
There aren't very many.
yeah. Yeah, I see that.
I honestly, other than because I knew it, when I read this, there is no way I would think that this got attorney approved.
Except you read the bottom.
I mean, it's
Well,
just.
right.
Yeah, that's
It's-
attorney notation.
But I mean,
Yeah,
there's a
yeah,
lot
yeah.
of verbiage that's just,
We paid for
Well,
that.
one says it's up to the town council. I highlighted that, it's like, they didn't even proofread this. It literally says it's, the town council can make this determination, it's like, oh, well, they're gonna wait a long time for that. So, I think there's plenty of work to do on that.
Yeah.
But that's not so urgent. And you can prune in certain areas, I mean, the opening part of this policy is fine, that first paragraph is pretty,
Yep, straightforward.
yep. From there on, there's probably a lot of work to be done. So between now and Wednesday, we'll all kind of noodle where we think we wanna be on this, and then we'll hammer it out on Wednesday, and hopefully we'll end up with a motion.
So,
Is there
just
any,
the insurance part, or do we wanna really start digging into this so that we're really making our way?
you're welcome to go as
Yeah.
far as you wanna go,
Yeah.
obviously, but we really wanna nail down this
The
insurance thing.
insurance.
one thing is, one question I have is, does our new attorney, do they have something for a personnel policy already on the books?
They might,
That they could just, that they've already drawn up, or that they use as a generic, that we should start with?
It's gonna be similar.
but it would be.
It's very similar. I know Bradford's was similar to this.
I know, but I'm just thinking they gotta approve it anyway. So if they've got something already on the
Well,
books.
they don't have to, but we probably would be smart to
It would
ask
be
them to
smart.
sign off on it, yes.
We would, yes.
But we wanna, the nuts and bolts, if you're gonna go, right now, if you work, you get 25 days vacation if you work enough years. Do we still want it to be that way? Now, I don't think you can change the rules on anyone that's here, I'm not suggesting that we do that. But as you have people coming through the system, you may not want to have it that way, or you may, but we need to look at that. And it's within our jurisdiction to do that.
Well, I think a lot of that stuff, that's all up to us. You change that, you can change that tomorrow for everybody.
Well,
You
if
don't
somebody's
have to
already
bring it
earned a
up.
benefit, I don't know if you can undo
Take
it.
it
You can't
away.
take away what they've earned, but
I
I mean,
don't
going
think so.
forward, but what's going forward, they won't be able to earn anymore.
Correct. But if they hadn't hit a target or a threshold, we may be able to say, well, that's not available anymore. But you might even be able to say to somebody, yeah, you earned it, but now we're just not gonna go back to 3. I don't know if that's legal, I'm not suggesting that we do that.
I know
But,
we used to have it so, like, you earned one personal holiday a year,
yeah,
period.
yeah, we
You
have a
could-
rate.
But I mean, you could build those up. And then what they did, they changed the policy years ago that your personal holiday expired on December 31st.
So you had to use it, use it, lose it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
what they did have to do, and this was, we had to keep track of everybody that had personal holidays built up prior to that.
Ugh.
So every year, when you took a personal holiday, you had to specify, am I using my new one?
Or an old
Or
one,
am I using an old one?
my banked one.
So,
Oh, gosh.
and I mean, this has been 8 or 9 years, and we still have people.
My uncle
We're still keeping
retired,
track of this.
my uncle retired from the state police 2.5 years early because of sick time.
Whoa,
Yeah,
wow.
That's how it worked in those days, they don't do that anymore.
Wow,
It's very expensive, but that was the deal.
wow.
That's how they do it on the Hill. Their bank time keeps building. I know people that's got out of there a year and a half.
Yeah, well,
Wow.
but
Sit
that
home
doesn't
on
happen,
building all
that
that
doesn't
stuff
happen
up.
in the
Right.
private sector
Yeah.
anymore.
No, but
Okay, so that's, and if anything you need about, Lois will get it for us. If you-
Right, right.
Boy, if you could get us fresh prices, that would be great. I don't know that you'll be able to, but,
So MMA self-insures,
no, I think it's Blue Cross is under.
oh, is it
Anthem.
Anthem?
Yeah,
but
I
it's
thought Anthem
self-insured
was
through
pulling out
Anthem.
of Maine,
yeah. That's what I wondered, if that's the change that's coming. Cause I heard the same thing.
yeah,
Well, they were pulling out of Obamacare.
right.
So I don't know if they're gonna pull out of the Maine municipal, but,
Oh,
Right.
okay, okay.
See, for
so-
years, we went through Blue Cross Blue Shield, but we were self-insured through them.
we're Pilgrim.
So that's why I didn't know if that was the same deal, is we go through somebody else as a provider, but is MMA self-insured through them?
And actually, there's about to be an executive order later this week. It's gonna take down the state lines. It'll be interesting to see what that
Oh,
does.
yeah, it will be.
Now, it may get challenged in court, I don't know, but you literally,
You can go
overnight,
over
all of a
you
sudden,
can start
somebody from
shopping.
Missouri can try to sell us insurance. That would be, I think it's gotta help.
Oh,
I've
it's
never-
gonna
I've
be-
never had
it
Maine
will.
insurance, so I wouldn't.
Great.
Well, all of your providers for health insurance are licensed in Maine, or they can't
Right, but I
solicit.
mean, my provider itself is, like, mine has always been Blue Cross Blue Shield of South Carolina, or Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina.
Yeah, I don't get that.
I've never
I
had
don't get that.
Maine.
I don't understand that.
Well, then your employer isn't based in Maine then?
We have different, so they can get it that way.
That must be how they're doing it.
Yeah.
But never, ever, ever had I mean, I've always had a Blue Cross, we had Anthem for a very short time, but it's typically been a Blue Cross Blue Shield, it's never been a Maine.
I thought Anthem was Blue Cross.
It is.
It
is, but
is,
it's
it
different.
is.
Yeah, it's just a division, I believe it's
Right.
um,
But it's not the same insurance, I can tell you that.
So this Maine, when you get your insurance card through Maine Municipal, is it an Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield?
I don't know, I haven't seen it, but I saw Anthem Blue Cross on
so,
all
yes.
these pages.
Okay, okay.
Yes, it is Anthem.
That would be great if the state lines go away.
Yeah, well, they have to help, but you had sent me where some towns were going private, because they were getting better deals.
Right.
That's really what, we need to get some numbers.
I've emailed him twice.
But okay, but why I mean, I understand, I just want to keep it local as well. Who do we have that is, do you have some towns that are going through private that we could call somebody else? I mean,
I mean, different agent.
sure,
I can call any different agent.
Well, you
I
can
can call
call,
Barney and Bangor.
yeah, that's what I'm saying, or you go to,
but I'm just assuming if you knew an agent that was already carrying another town,
Oh, yeah, that was all that email way
Yeah.
back when.
Yeah.
I would
I'd
be
go back and
opposed,
look
I would
at
rather
it.
call it,
Just knock on their door.
and I wouldn't be, let them know you're doing that.
That,
Yeah, no, we're just shopping.
We're shopping around.
I mean, we're trying to,
But I'm
I
surprised
bet
you
you,
can't get.
I bet you can do a lot better than this.
yeah, me too. Yep.
Okay. Is that it for tonight?
Yep.
All right, make a motion that, we adjourn tonight's meeting at 6:35.
Second,
All in favor? Thank you for coming out on this rainy day.
very, very good, very